Hey folks, let's get started. It's a lovely Thursday afternoon. I just got my second vaccine shot, and I'm thrilled about it. It was actually really exciting. It's funny how emotionally I felt. I like the emotional reaction that I had after getting the first shot, and then the emotional reaction that I had again after getting the second shot. I think speaks to how pervasive the challenges of the last year have been. So, you know, that's that. Good luck to everybody else getting your shots. I hope that happens quickly for everybody. Let's play some Signs of the Sojourner. We'll pick up where we left off yesterday, which is almost out of time on this trip. Almost out of time on this trip. Having failed to get the thing we were sent out to get. So, gonna go back to Bartow, in shame, I think. But because we have a couple of days, and I believe I understand the way that this works, we're gonna go to Longate first. Just because they got... we're going to see what's up. We're going to see what's going on. I am feeling okay. I'm feeling pretty good. My arm is definitely sore. Other than that, I don't think I have any symptoms. I got my shot at about 10:30 this morning, and it's now 2 o'clock. So, from my friends who have gotten their second shot, other people that I've talked to, I think I've got, another 8 hours or so, before, I feel real bad, if indeed that happens. So I think it's tomorrow. I think tomorrow is going to be my, sick day. I've been trying to keep as much off of my schedule for tomorrow as I possibly could. So, let's see. These are green purples, which I'm not great at. Well-dressed gentleman approaches you on the outskirts of town. The layer of dust collecting on his fitted cuffs is almost as thick as his accent. He wipes them off before extending a hand to shake. Hi, mysterious masked man. How do you do? My name is Aeneas. I know that name, right? Like, this name has been brought up before. I don't remember exactly where. Well, it's not really Aeneas, but I'd rather you say the rough approximation than outright butcher it. And I managed to butcher even that, so that's fun. Okay. I can play that, and I can play this, and then I can play this. And that's got a blue on it, so... I wanted to ask if you might know where a fellow traveler could acquire some camel's cheese. I absolutely adore the stuff, but no one around here seems to keep it in stock. I don't know where you get camel's cheese. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. But the people down here are fairly unadventurous despite living at the crossroads of the world. Such a shame. Friend, I drew 3 fatigue cards, so I'm not in a great place to do anything. Hi, Kyla. No, good to see you. Yesterday we had some interesting conversation about how to tell stories in games and sort of different strategies for that. So it was actually an interesting day, and I played really slow. So I'm finishing up the 4th caravan trip right now, and I don't know. I think I'm gonna play this. Do you need me to say it a little slower? I mean, I might. Oh my god, look at this hand. shouldn't have come here. Am I making myself clear? Oh, friend. Suppose I will have to look elsewhere for my beloved curds. Yeah. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, this is absolutely, this is what happens when you stay out the full 50 days. Okay, here's what I can do. Oh, I like these two cards. Oh. No, I like these two cards because they're useful to me as purple to blue cards or blue to purple card. Like, I could take this and replace that. How about that? And then that gives me just like a little bit of extra orange. This is more generally useful, probably, because I talk to more people who have green, but going back home is all orange, so... Mimi's in a bit of a tizzy. She's covered in dirt and has clearly been busy digging up her succulents and stuffing them into a large suitcase. After reading Theo's letter, it made me realize I really do miss that gentle old geezer. It got me to thinking maybe I should move down to the desert oasis so we can pick things up where we left off. Is that bonkers? Listen, don't ask me. I'm real tired. I'm not who you should be asking. I mean, this is going to be great if I don't draw a hand full of fatigue. Like, holy cow. Oh, she's not going to have anything for that, is she? Well, aren't you a little devil egging me on to do something crazy? I knew I liked you, kid. But here's the thing. I'm no sprout anymore. I've been setting my roots down for an awful long time now. What if moving to Desert Oasis is a huge mistake? Killer. We're just talking past each other now. Am I really talking about this? Maybe I should stay put. Alright, well. So, the picking up cards from people, even if the conversation ends up horrible, is super interesting. I very much like that. It's a great mechanic. It does lead to the thing that we were talking about yesterday of I feel like I have to be choosy about which people I talk to because it kind of doesn't even matter how the conversation goes so much. If they're talking an entirely different language than me, I have to adopt some of that into my hand, which I might not want. Which is good. Like that again. Let me be clear. That's a good feature of this game. But it is it makes it more difficult. It makes it creates tensions. Kyla says, when I played, I always had one card in my deck that was basically like the garbage card that I would always switch out if I had to take a card I didn't like. Totally, 100%. I don't have that just because I end up, like, I always seem to, my garbage card doesn't make it very long before I pick up something that seems genuinely useful. And then I sort of have to figure out what is my new garbage card. But yes, that's a strategy that makes sense to me. All right, so I'm gonna go to Bartow, and I'm not gonna make it there, but then it's gonna teleport me there, I think. Resting on the roof of your truck one evening, thunder cuddles up beside you. Oh, good. I get to remove... Well, actually, that is good, because I'm going to go home and I'm gonna be tired enough. Your truck can't hold up on trips this long. Time to return home. Okay, Elias is gazing through the sky vent, hoping to see the silver lining. He's standing next to a sign that reads, "Enjoy our new dining terrace." Hey, welcome back. Any luck finding those building supplies while you were gone? I did find them. I was unable to secure them. Sometimes I just don't get you. No? Okay. That's fine. That's fine. This is what my draw is. Oh boy. I guess we don't see as eye to eye as we used to. We don't. It's true. Oh, that's an accommodate card. Sweet. I don't have anything that can turn it back. All I can do is that. Hey, we got one win. That's something. No, guess you had more important things to do, eh? No, I tried. I did. I mean, maybe I should have found, like... But I didn't know where to go, so I don't know. My aunt isn't worried about the damage. She says people like to drink their coffee al fresco, whatever that means. But I think people are just going to see a hole in the ceiling. I mean, we got awfully far. That was real close. I really need to be getting back to my work. Rough. Okay, I can take an accommodate, which I don't think I want another one. Okay, Masha could use a hand, but I've got like no greens. I've got no greens and almost no oranges. Jayla Clinch, hi, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Okay, I did get 3 things, which I assume is still my goal. I don't know, the game's not entirely clear on whether that remains a consistent goal. Even though you didn't make good on Elias's request, you did come away with a pretty decent haul this time around. Hopefully it's enough to make up for the meager finds from the previous months. I mean, that's good that things sold out. Samuel bought up the kimchi for the Roadhouse Food Co-op. The day laborer bought the vinegar after you told him all about Haruto's business. Samuel bought up the canned fish. Great. All of that's good. Hi, Toby. Hello. Good to see you. Jayla Clinch, I am in a similar boat. I got my second COVID vaccine shot like 3 hours ago. So I'm doing okay right now, anticipating that tomorrow I will be taking meetings from bed, because I think that's how it's going to go. Nadine is back. I didn't think Nadine was going to come back. Look at all these people that I can't talk to, like, at all. I feel like I shouldn't... I mean... Fucking Cassandra, right? Yesterday, I said, I'm gonna feel terrible when I don't even talk to Elias on the next trip. And I'm not Nadine pushes open the door to your store and steps inside. She scans the empty shelves, taking in every inch of the place with discerning analytical eyes before gesturing for you to join her on the stoop. What do you want, Nadine? I got no greens. Your store, is it always like this? I won't say I'm impressed, but your inventory is not the worst. Okay, well, I can play that. No, I'm not here to buy anything, just taking a look around. I mean, I see what you're doing, it doesn't matter. None of this matters. Don't try to convince me with your words. Believe it or not, I'm already on your side. You've got till the end of the month. Make it count. Okay. An ominous sign for the looming decision ahead. I don't know what you want. Okay, I'm gonna take this. And now what? What's my garbage card now? Do you think people are still as distressed as they were? I'm betting they are. So... I guess... this one. I guess this one. We'll see. Candy Bombers, thanks for doing that. I have 3 double purples. I know, but I won't. I feel like I need those purples. I feel like I need those purples in Old Marais, where I'm gonna make my living. I mean, I think I'm gonna take the same route that I did last time. Yeah. Or I could follow the caravan, I guess. That's a bad plan. I'm not gonna do that. The double purples are like the core of our personality. That's exactly right. That's who I've become. It's not a phase. This is who I am now. Look at this fucking double purples. Lars. Lars is going to be my guy. He's living in a tent. It's designed to be taken down and moved frequently. He doesn't have many possessions inside. I figured I would have moved on from Aldhurst by now. You want to double purples with me? You want to do some double purple? Let's talk about purples, buddy. It's not doing me any good here. Got forced off that patch I was trying to garden. People sure have a lot of papers. Rough. I'd go elsewhere, but I need more food and money for the road. Hey, don't sweat it. I'm not going to ask you for that. I don't have any purple. Oh, good. Perfect. Okay, I can do that. Tired of traveling when I don't know where I'm headed. It's not as if there's some town with a carpet rolled out for me. And this poor guy. If I'm going to be unwelcome somewhere, it might as well be Aldhurst. At least the summers are mild. Oh, purple. Shoot. shoot, this does me no good, right? Oh man, I'm so close. Easy for you to say. No! I don't need advice. I need neighbors with some kindness in their hearts, that's all. That was going so well. Ah. By the time you leave, his attention is already turning inward again. He doesn't expect to connect with people much. Ah. That one hurt. That one hurt. Man. You know what would have made that better? If I had had a double purple instead of this damn double green. You find Aurora softly strumming a weathered, stately old guitar outside her shop. No crowd gathers today. This didn't go well last time. This is not going to go well again. Sorry, mood around town's been different these days. Leads the mind to wander back a ways, back to better days. Does that sound like it could be the beginning of the song? Hubert says, the conversations that fall through at the end that hurt the most, we were so close. Completely, entirely agree. But I also want to point out how the mechanics of the game lead to that, like, very deliberately. And the stuff that we were talking about before, about how you don't get to redraw cards. You don't get to redraw cards at the end of each, like, conversation section. That means that even if you get a good draw at the beginning, and if you have, like, a deck that is pretty compatible with the conversation that you're having, maybe you'll get a good draw at the beginning, but the cards that get left in your hand are trash cards for the conversation that you're in, right? Like, you will use the cards that are good for this conversation. And so there's a tendency, and the game can manipulate this, can, like, really fine-tune this with how long each of these conversations are, how many cards long, and the total sort of, like, what is required to succeed. Not just the balance of successes and failures, but, like, 2 versus 3 successes can really manipulate, like, the longer you stay in a conversation, the more likely it is to turn bad, which means that you're going to have a lot of conversations that follow that pattern of, I mean, either it's going to be a disaster from the beginning, or it's going to go well at the beginning and then turn sour. And that's sort of like, that's the form. Ugh, look at this. Look at these damn cards that I've got. Why did I do this? Why did I even... Don't much like this tune. That's funny. It was a favorite of your mom and her friend. What was his name again? I don't recall. Been too long. Well, best of luck on your future travels. Alright, well... At least I didn't have to take any crap experience from that, so. A hilly vineyard town. You come across a roadhouse packed with travelers. Sure. Choose a card to gain chatter. Interesting. That's interesting. Let's see. I feel like this, maybe not this card. Because I have no oranges and I only have a couple of blues. That makes this card difficult for me. It's actually the doubles that work well for me for chatter. So maybe I will add chatter to this card. Because the double purple elaborate isn't that useful. It is useful in some situations, but not in most. I say that, it's actually more useful than I thought, because if you have an armor and no card to play, playing a double elaborate actually then that is a good play. Is that a better play than having chatter? Maybe this card. Maybe that's actually good. Because I don't use that visibility thing that often. I'm gonna do that. And what's nice about this is that if I'm going from blue into purple, I have a lot of purple cards. Or I have more purple cards, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 coming from purples. I only have 2 coming from blues and 2 coming from pinks. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Chatter almost feels negative sometimes since you have to play more of your own cards. That's true. That's why I'm doing this, because purple is my main suit. And so if I'm talking to somebody who is talking in blue, that's probably not great for me. But if I can turn the conversation to purple and then just keep talking, that might be better for me. Okay, is there anybody here that I should even talk to? Probably yes. What did I get? Thunder's here. Oh, and I can't talk to XN220 anymore, huh? So, I was able to get vinegar last time. Maybe because I had enough blue? Harutuman's vinegar shop with his robot helper XN220 whirs around behind him, sealing up barrels before transporting them over to the wine cellar. I think I had a lot of accommodate last time I was here. And I still have a fair bit, so you're eyeing my farmhand. You wouldn't dare be thinking about stealing him away from me, would you? We had a whole conversation about him last time I was here. Interesting. Okay, yes. No, I'm good. I'm good, because I can play this, that leads into this, that leads into this, that is blue and orange, and he can play off of that, and then I have another accommodate. That'll be good. Gah, honestly, that hunk of junk wouldn't be worth the trouble. His sensors and motor functions are pretty badly compromised. He often creates more work for me than I ever had to begin with. But I keep him around anyway. Nice to have someone on this vineyard that won't complain when I boss him around. That's a weird thing to say. Not that it's lonely here without my brother. Hardly. Okay, really? Okay, well, I can play that. XN220 is all the company I need. If Tosuto wants to come crawling back, I won't stop him, but he won't get any discounts on my vinegar. Not that it matters. I've got everything I need right here. XN doesn't seem to mind my gruff exterior at all, just as long as I keep his joints swimming in extra virgin olive oil. Alright. So this is my best short-term play. I could play this and then this, but he wouldn't have anything to play. That would only be 2 cards, and would go back to the beginning. So I'm going to play that. And then this will finish it. Yes. Yeah, you heard right. My bot's acquired a taste for the finer stuff. Despite how it sounds, he's actually come a long way since I found him, guzzling unrefined canola oil out of a rusty can. What a mess. Hell yeah, I got some vinegar. Free sample of vinegar? Careful to make sure XN220 doesn't see it. The last thing Haruto needs is for XN to get hooked on that stuff, too. Weird. Weird. I don't want any of these cards, man. This is all bad. I haven't seen as much pink, I think. I've seen less pink. I think I'm gonna go with this. Candy Bombers, thank you so much for supporting the community. That's really wonderful. That's really nice. So there's conversation happening in chat about the fatigue threshold. Basically, like, how many fatigue cards do you need to get before you really don't have much chance of having a successful conversation, even if your deck is built to have a successful conversation. 8 to 10 is being thrown out. Moyar says it did some rough math and suggests 8. 8 is definitely close to guaranteed fail in most conversations. Yeah, I think that's probably right, and I'm sure you did that math, and I bet that math checks out. It's surprisingly sort of even less that I think it really starts to hurt, and I think it's probably around 5 or 6. That because again, like, talking about the engine of the conversation, like, it's not just about what cards you have in your deck. And being able to make, 4 or 5 card long chains, it's about it's about drawing trash and keeping it in your hand for the whole conversation. So if you've got 5 cards in your hand and you draw 1 fatigue, it's now you've got 4 cards in your hand. Okay, that's hurting you, that's limiting, but that fatigue is guaranteed to stay there for the entire conversation, right? Which means, which has a lasting effect. So I think when you get more than just a couple fatigue cards, I think, you can draw a fatigue card into your hand in the same way that you can draw, a trash card, off-color card into your hand and be pretty much fine for a conversation. And so if you have 1 or 2 fatigue cards in your deck, you're going to be okay. If you have 3 or 4, you're probably going to be okay. You're probably not going to draw more than 1 or 2 of those until the very end of the conversation, and then, you might be able to eke it out. But you could have a really bad draw where you draw 2 or 3 in your initial draw, and then you're stuck with those for the whole conversation. That's going to go really badly. And I think by the time you have 5 or 6, that becomes much more likely to happen. I think when you have 5 or 6 fatigue cards, in practice, it becomes really likely that you will draw at least 1 of them into your hand on the initial draw, and then draw another one pretty quickly after that. And, that starts to really hurt. All right, I do want to talk to Oscar. I wasn't able to communicate with Oscar last time. He's much more orange. I don't know that this is going to work. Oscar tends to his own plot of land. He's stacked the supplies too high for humans and planted the rows of grapes too narrowly. Nevertheless, though the Sunrise Community Farm may be gone, Oscar's crops flourish in the sun. Welcome to my new farm. I founded it according to the protocols of Sunrise. Profits are shared among all the workers. That's cute. That's very cute. Oh man, see, if I had drawn more accommodates, that could have worked out okay. As it is, okay, so I only have 2 cards that start with blue. I only have 2 that start with pink. I managed to draw all 3 out of those 4. I am going to play purple, because then I can play purple again, and I'll have drawn 2 cards, and most likely they will either be purple or accommodate, which would both be really good to end that chain. Same protocols may lead to different outcomes if performed with different starting conditions in a new environment. If Maya came here, I would not involve her. I determined that she was severely defective. Oh, interesting. Well, that wasn't a great draw for me. But that one is. I think we might be okay. Historical data. You have traveled a long time. Probable conclusion. You aren't interested in a quiet place of your own. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, that's cutting. That is very good third act dialogue. I think that, right, like, this sums up my story, like the story of this playthrough, pretty well. I have deliberately given up the quiet place of my own that I had at the beginning of the game in order to travel a long time and by traveling a long time. That's cool. That's one of those, like, you know, pull out your highlighter and highlight it quotes from high school lit. However, perhaps you have not recently verified your analysis. Perhaps your planning protocols could use an update. Let's see. I can play this, and then this, and then this, and then we're done. I forgot that I needed him to play, but he was able to do it. Thank you very much, Oscar. If environmental factors have changed for you as well, perhaps you would also like a new permanent home. And I got some hot chilies. Ooh, cool. You can choose to retire with Oscar. This is the first that I've seen that looks like it is hinting at an end to the game. That I'm gonna maybe be able to make a choice at some point at the end, and one of the choices I will have is to retire with Oscar. I have an orange blue backtrack. I don't think I want that. Wait, I can have another conversation with him? Oh, let me talk to Thunder first. Thunder has set up shop, snoozing beside the fountain. His tail whacks the ground ferociously as you approach, and he twists to give you his belly. Thunder's great. I think if you talk to Oscar, that might select the ending? What? What? I would not have guessed that in a million years. He's invited me to join him in retirement. I mean, now I don't think I can click this button, because, I don't know, it might just take me into the ending. What the heck? Okay, that's a UX failure. That's a problem. That there's not enough of an indication of like what this actually means, and it's presented the same way that all other conversations have been presented to me. Wow. Okay. I mean, even having sort of suggested that, and Kyla's saying that Kyla suggested that and is saying that she's not 100% sure. But I think that that's sort of telling, right? Like, even having raised that possibility, I look at this now and it is entirely ambiguous. It absolutely could mean that. But it is... I have zero confidence in it, right? Like, I am now in this... This is something that we talk about in early game design classes about, you know, what is your... what are your experience goals? What is it that your player experiences when they play the game? And you can have all kinds of experience goals, and they can be... You can have multiple experience goals, and they can be dialed in and very specific, and they can be very broad and general around sort of emotional notes that you want your game to hit. And that's generally where we start with design students, is thinking about broadly what is an emotion that you want your game to inspire, that you want your player to feel. Think about crafting your experience goal in that way. And you know, so there's a lot of variety. There's a lot of variability. You can have experience goals that touch on all kinds of happy emotions, joyful emotions, funny, sad, painful. You can have games that make you feel a sense of grief, right? Like or tragedy, or anger, or even frustration. Frustration's kind of a tricky one, but you can do frustration as a target emotion. The thing that's really dangerous is confusion, and it almost never works. Like, confusion is pretty much your enemy as a game designer, and having the player be in a situation where they don't understand what's going on, where they don't understand what's expected of them, where they don't understand the sandbox that they're playing in, all of those suck the other kind of emotional resonance of the game right out, and become really dangerous for games, for the designer, when that seeps into your game. It's why we talk a lot about tutorials. We talk a lot about signposting and instructions and scene setting and setting expectations and invitation to play. All of this is based around the idea that you want your players to have formed, correct, useful expectations about how they're interacting with your game, so that you can bring out other kinds of experiences. I feel like this is just like a really brutal example of, I don't know what happens if I push this button. I don't know what the game is going to do. I don't know how the game is going to interpret that. And so it makes me feel really anxious about doing anything. It's possible it will give you a yes-no choice at the end of the conversation. Totally. That is entirely possible. I would hope that that's what it does. If I were designing that game, I would make sure that you want to have that kind of like backstop, right? A checkpoint where you can have the player make a deliberate decision. Here's the thing. If then the point where I click on it, the point where I'm making that decision that you're worried about, the reason that you would put that kind of explicit yes/no choice somewhere, that is to prevent me from doing something that I didn't mean to do, that I didn't do sort of accidentally. And you can put that choice in the game, But if as a player I don't know that you've put that choice in the game, and there's no way for me to know that you've put that choice into the game unless you tell me, then the choice immediately before that becomes that choice for me. I'm staring at that as a player, and I don't. That's now. This is the sort of point of no return, because I don't know. I don't have confidence, because there's been no communication that pressing this button is going to lead to a confirmation, right? It could just lead to something irrevocable. So it's a design problem regardless, I think. I'm curious what the answer is. I suspect that we will find out, because I suspect that at some point I'm going to have to... That's how the game is going to end. Is I'm either going to accept that offer, or I'm going to accept some other offer somewhere else, or I'm going to go back to Bartow, and the same thing is going to happen in Bartow. I just don't want to. It's day 10, right? Like, I don't want to do it now, and I don't want to risk that by pressing the button I am doing it, because who knows if that is a final decision. Unless you want to make... So Candy Bomber says, unless you want to make a funny game, then confusion can create fun, like in Goat Simulator. That's an interesting point. I understand what you're saying. I don't think I entirely agree with it, because I think there are different types of confusion. I think that there is an uncertainty in how you are interacting with the game that is still sort of really toxic to enjoyment. And the kind of confusion that is created in Goat Simulator, I think, is a different thing, that's about sort of like unexpected outcomes, and the sort of confusion of like, I'm going to do something wild in this world and it's going to react in sort of a baffling way. But I think there's still like... I got to think about this more. Because you are onto something that, like, I am making some very generalized statements about confusion, and that's probably not useful or helpful. And there is something about confusion in a comedy physics game. I think that there's a difference, and I think that I could articulate that difference, but I have to think about it a little bit more. That's cool. Okay. The scattered hidden endings. Yeah. All right. Well, we might take a scattered hidden ending, because I don't know that I'm gonna go back and live in Bartow anymore. I mean, I think I thought I would. I think that was probably my plan for a long time, but now I don't know that I'm at home there. Movement catches your eye off the road in the distance. Choose a card to sacrifice. It will be replaced by a copy of another card in your deck. I am on my way now into Purple and Blue Town, so I'm going to get rid of this card. Oh, it got replaced by this one. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay, I think you're getting to something. Candy Bombers. I definitely see that there's a toxic confusion that is inherently bad, like a game having... I know I used the word toxic. I don't know that that's quite the right word, but I started it. I think we're referring to the same thing. There's a toxic confusion that is inherently bad, like a game having an unexpected bug or something just ending. Yes, right, exactly. And the unexpected bug is, I think, key. Like, there's a type of confusion that a game can have where something happens and you're not sure if it's a bug or not. And maybe you can't be sure if that was supposed to happen or if that was a bug, if that was unintended. And that, to me, that's not like the confusion, but that is a symptom of the kind of confusion that I'm talking about. If something could happen in the game that isn't intended, that's caused by a glitch or a bug, that the player isn't certain that, like, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen, then I think you're not communicating enough with the player about what their expectations should be, right? I think that a player should immediately be able to recognize something has gone wrong here. And that kind of, like, a user experience that doesn't allow for that, doesn't include that kind of, like, level of comprehension of modeling, right? Mental modeling on behalf of the player. I think that's just, like, I don't know what the right word to use is. I keep using different words. I say dangerous, and I mean dangerous to the designer expressing what they want to express, like doing something deliberately through the game. I think it harms their ability to do that. Yeah. No, Kyla, I appreciate, because if you hadn't said something, I definitely would have pressed that button, and then who knows what would have happened. Probably it would have been fine. Probably the game would have given me some sort of a confirmation. I would have been like, oh, that was an ending? Whoops. But I'm not actually sure that that's what would have happened. So I appreciate you saying something so that I didn't do it. Because I want to go through, I mean, I wanted to make it to Old Moray at least. Let's see. Let's talk to, I have a fatigue card. I feel like there's never a reason not to talk to Thunder as long as I have a fatigue card, because he's just going to make me lose a fatigue card. Initially cautious as you disembark in Old Moray, wary of the floating walkways and surging ground beneath his paws, he perks up when the crowd parts to reveal the water on all sides. I mean, look at this good dog. Look at that good dog face. Spending time with Thunder makes you feel less fatigued. Wait, what did I get? You lure him away from the dark, crowded water with the smelly treat. It's not safe for him to swim here. He ignores it. Somewhere, he found a treat to give you instead. What is it? I don't even know what that is. It's like fruit by the foot or something. I don't know. It's weird. Genesis Lazy Duck, hi, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I didn't say tapeworm, but I was thinking tapeworm. You're absolutely right. Graphicos, that's totally right. Moyar, I gotta tell, so Moyar says, when playing the Outer Wilds, I managed to trigger a joke ending right as I was trying to trigger the normal ending, and that confusion felt almost traumatic. I have rarely been as stressed out as I was trying to finish Outer Wilds, because, not to spoil that game too much, but it has a premise. It has sort of a Groundhog's Day premise where time is looping, and so you go out and you do stuff, and you have a limited amount of time before the game sort of rewinds and starts you over, and if you die, then you just wake up and it's the same day, very Groundhog's Day. But finishing the game involves figuring out why there is a time loop and stopping it, and so there's a brief part of the game where you stop the time loop and then have to continue to do stuff. And there is a safety built into, like a security built into that game, where you can do wild and dangerous things, because if you die, you will start over. And you don't want to die. Like, you make progress as you play, and it would suck to have to like go back to the beginning, but that's the worst that can happen, is you go back to the beginning. And so you feel okay taking all kinds of crazy risks because of that. And when I got to the ending of that game and was like, okay, I'm going to turn off the time loop, now I can't die. I got real stressed out. And I read about some of the, like, they're sort of joke endings, but they're sort of like, you know, the game can end several different ways. There's one that's sort of intended and that you are trying to do, but if you do some other weird stuff, like, the game sort of has to end by its own internal logic. Yes. Okay. Someone's looking glum. Tariq, let's see what we can do. I was not able to get through to Tariq last time. I think Tariq is maybe too blue for me. Maybe this isn't such a good time for a chat. Okay. Never much cared for the towers. It's like the Rilkers are always looming over us, you know? Lately, even the mere sight of them makes me feel sick. I'm surprised that I didn't have more interaction with the Rilkers in this game. It seemed like that's sort of what this game was going to be all about. I mean, not all about, but like, that was a conflict that was introduced at the very beginning, as, you know, these are bad guys, these are antagonists, and it's funny that I've had a few conversations about them, but I've never met them, and I haven't actually had that many conversations about them. It took me coming to Old Moray like 2 or 3 times before I realized that, like, they're here. The Rilkers are like living in towers in this city. I didn't even understand that right away. We're stuck down here, sitting on our hands while the city crumbles around us. I hate this powerless feeling. If only someone could do something. We need brave folks who will stand up to the Rilkers, like the crew of the Wave Dancer back in the days of the Algian fever. What I'd give to see its colors flying on the horizon. Maybe that's something I can help with. Okay, I have 2 of those cards. I've got this card. Let's play this card. No, are you kidding me? I bet he had blue. I bet if I had played one of the blue cards, he could have played off of it. Damn. Sorry, I didn't mean to be a downer. That sucks. That sucks. That's rough. Sick of being pushed around, you know. Tariq, I wish that I could reach you, but I clearly just can't. So now, oh man. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Is that what I'm doing? That takes away one of my from purple cards, which I feel like maybe I actually want this. I think this is what I want. I like purple so much. Like, I'm so into the purple. Damn. Okay, well that's all I could do at Old Moray. I thought that was going to go better. I'm going to go to the Wave Dancer first, because I'm just thinking about I'm just thinking about these fatigue cards. I'm going to go here first, because if I can convince the Wave Dancer to go to Old Marais or whatever, that would be kind of cool. I don't know if that's going to be an option, but let's try it. You approach a welcoming rest stop off the side of the road. Travelers sit around sharing stories. Choose a single card to gain a single use accord. Okay, now I understand. So the first time that this is the second time we've encountered this little scenelet where we gain a single use accord, and the first time that we did it, I read this as something very different and much more powerful than it is, where I thought it was giving a card a permanent ability to create an accord with only the use of that one card, right? Because normally an accord requires 2 cards played in sequence. And so I read single use as like single requirement, which is not what it says, and that was clearly wrong, and now I understand what this means. I'm just sort of like clarifying that, as early in the game I didn't understand what the hell was going on here. I kind of want to put it on a chatter. Let's see. I could put it on this double purple chatter, maybe? That seems good. That seems useful. Or I could put it on this purple to orange blue, and then this becomes a card that can sort of just play anywhere, like from purple to anything. But it's already good at that, so I'm gonna put it on this purple chatter. One thing I really appreciate, this is from Genesis Lazy Duck, one thing I really appreciate is how the game demonstrates the importance of geography and how people often interact. Like people up north seem a bit more stiff, and southeast seems a bit more eccentric, etc. Yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting to me that like this, the purple meaning direct and forceful, the blue meaning creative and industrious. I thought that I was going to see more of that coming through, and I haven't really. To me, those colors remain pretty abstract concepts. A lot of the named abilities like chatter or backtrack or listen or accommodate. There's accommodate. Like those really make sense to me. Those mechanics totally match that. What that does to. Those mechanics match that rhetorical technique, right? Whereas I thought that like I don't know. I thought that like maybe there would be the variety of those named abilities or characteristics would be more related to the like purpleness of the card. Like there would be purple cards, because they were direct and forceful, could have more. Well, maybe chatter is a good example, right? Like chatter is something that you do when you're direct and forceful, whereas the creative and industrious would have a blue ability that was like, I don't even know. That would be like what's the, I don't have any of them anymore. Whatever the thing is that sort of, this, what is this? Elaborate could be like on blue cards or something like that. But that's not how the game works. These are all over the place. It doesn't matter what color they're associated with. And the colors, as far as I've been able to sort of tell, don't map super well, like super clearly to the personalities of the characters. That said, I think what Genesis Lazy Duck is saying is 100% true, that there is difference in sort of like the personalities. Those individual personalities do really matter, and I've gotten to know, like, I know what kinds of cards Elias is going to play because they match the sort of person that Elias is, versus Nadine is plays kind of a lot like Elias, but with green cards instead of orange cards. And Gull is like extremely forceful about the purple cards, which is kind of like what Elias is like. Like, Elias is very brings things back to orange, and uses a lot of, well, I guess Elias uses a lot of accommodate, and Gull doesn't, certainly. But to me, like, I understand those personalities of the characters, and I associate them with the characters rather than with the colors necessarily that the characters are using. And yet, geographically, we see a distribution of colors, and we also see a distribution of those kinds of personalities. And some of that, I think, is like a rural versus urban thing, and some of it is a, there's no robots, I guess, in the Southwest, but there are robots somewhere else, and that there's like different cultural things that happen that change sort of the character of towns and the personalities of the people that we meet there. I think that it's really good and well written in that there is that kind of spread and variety that is according to geography, even if these colors don't have as much explicit meaning as I sort of expected them to at the beginning. I don't miss it. I don't mind it. It's just different than what I was expecting. Do you want something really cool to note but isn't significant to gameplay? Count how many cards the AI has and note how old or young they are. It demonstrates mental capacity, in my opinion. Young and very old people generally have less mental capacity understanding than general adults. Interesting. I had never noticed that characters had different numbers of cards. That is super interesting. Yeah, and that could also reflect just general personality, but age, I think, factors into that. Fascinating. So Kyla says, I found Nadine also sometimes had unexpected symbols in her deck, which made me think of her as worldly and well-traveled. Yeah, that's true, and that's cool. That's interesting. Moira says it's nice that there seem to be gradients of colors. Most societies seem to share at least one color with most of their neighbors, but that it's shit. So you've got like pure orange that bleeds into orange green, that bleeds into, in one direction bleeds into orange green, and then green blue, and in another direction it bleeds in, it's sort of orange blue, and then blue purple, and then that goes to purple green, I think, other places. Totally. I love that, and I think it plays well with, to bring the logistics back in, but like this map view and the toll that travel takes, we're talking about fatigue cards and stuff like that, like the way that the game presents distance as really mattering, and it is not casual to go from one place to another. It is your job, and you are doing it because it's your job, and it's hard, and things are different from one place to another, and that's part of what makes it hard. But the fact that it's hard is also what makes that. There is people in Orange Town live in their orange town, and they can mostly talk to their neighbors because their neighbors are orange green or orange blue, but they're not crossing the whole continent in order to go to a new place, because that's hard to do. Yeah. Okay, did I do this? I think I did this. Yes, there's my single use.